This is the Tigers Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Detroit Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, here we go. Tigers get blown out by the Minnesota Twins in the series finale, and we're going to put as much effort into this postcast as the Tigers did to the final 20 batters, as all 20 batters were retired. No, I'm kidding, of course, but man, what a Sunday afternoon. That's the definition of a blowout. Chris Paddack was shelled, and there was just no sign of life from this Tigers team. They took the day off. They really did. I'll call it what it is. Welcome into a live Locked On Tigers postcast. Buckle up and dial it in. I am your host, Jake Riepma. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake_Riepma. As a reminder, this is your post-game destination, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team each and every day, free and available wherever you get your podcasts, and of course on YouTube. Make sure you like today's video. It helps us out a great deal. And oh yes, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. You're crazy not to subscribe to Locked On Tigers, because you get the daily show with Scott Bentley and you get a post-game reaction show with me, Jake Riepma. Your comments are always welcome. Go ahead and fire up the comment box. And listen, we'll begin. I'll have my talking point, our turning point, and everything else. But this was just a snooze fest. It really was. And I suppose the reasonable, level-headed explanation is there's 162 games. And at this point in the season, all we heard the entire broadcast from Jason Benetti and Andy Dirks is why it doesn't matter to lose games. And to obviously you can get the rationale behind what they're selling is, hey, you got a huge lead in the division. Cleveland lost today, and you're going to take on an Astros team that also got blown out today. Look, it's not a big deal. It's not at the end of the world, which to a certain extent, I do agree with. But just the notion of, hey, let's just go out and take the afternoon off, I get irritated by that. And you can't really, in my opinion, you can't tell me it was anything else. I mean, the Tigers had 20 consecutive batters retired. And I know it was after the Grand Slam and after Chris Paddack had been absolutely shelled to the tune of 8 earned runs and 5 1/3. But let's be professional baseball players. Let's be a little bit competitive here. My 2 cents, and a lot of people in the comments would say it's worth less than that. But hey, we can have fun on a Sunday and still acknowledge the good road trip that it was. 5-2 on the road trip. And I know I forgot to hit the little sounder here, so let me do that now. Here's what we're talking about on a live Locked On Tigers postcast.
This is what you'll be talking about.
It was a good road trip. You take 3 of 4 from Minnesota. You take 2 of 3 from the White Sox. That includes a 1-0 win. With the Minnesota series, it includes a gutsy, gritty, extra innings win where you did things right. It includes a win like yesterday in a marathon of a game where, in my opinion, you should have won about 15-0, but that's neither here nor there. At the end of the day, 5-2 road trip. I should not complain and cry and scream. It just, the competitor in me is a little disappointed with the effort on a Sunday afternoon when you have a chance for a 4-game sweep. And again, listen, I listened to every word of the broadcast, and I'm not going to not acknowledge the truth that is in everything that Jason Benetti and Andy Dirks were selling. Cleveland lost. It's a 5-2 road trip. The Astros are getting shelled. The sky is not falling. Please hear me when I say that. But for a team to just go out and take a day off, I just get a little bit frustrated with that. But let's get into your comments, because there's really not a whole hell of a lot to break down in this one. I mean, obviously we know what the turning point is. It's Chris Paddack just getting absolutely shelled, and the grand slam from lead that makes it 7-1 in the 3rd inning. That's your ball game there. And again, for the Tigers to then just kind of lay over and roll over, I guess it would be the sports terminology there, and get 20 retired in a row. There's your game summary. Happy. All right, let's get into some comments. Demetrius McNeil is up first. Final 20 Tigers batters were retired. Series says Tigers win the series 3-1 to the Twins. Difference in the game was a 6-run 3rd inning. Come back next game. Yep, there it is. Demetrius McNeil, I always appreciate your comments, because more often than not, I'll go ahead and say just about every time they are spot on. Guy Merritt says it was a close one out there. There you go. As far as the next comment, we got Gareth Ridings. Tigers won the series and are still 8.5 games ahead. Yep, that's what we're going to tell ourselves again. And I've tried to refrain from, there's only so many bullets in the chamber, figuratively, of course, where you have a rant, you blow a gasket, and obviously there was the post trade deadline couple of shows in Philadelphia where I wasn't having it, and I don't want to do that and make it a habit of every time you tune into a live Locked On Tigers postcast and the Tigers didn't win, it's this idiot screaming into the microphone and losing his temper, because that's not fun for anybody, right? So I don't think today is one of those days to blow a gasket and use one of the bullets in the chamber. I'm sure we'll have plenty more memorable collapses before the end of the season. No, I'm kidding. But I'm watching that game like, come on, show a little life. Come on, show a little life. And there was none of that. This question here, Detroit Lions, why did we send down Brant Herter? You have to ask AJ Hinch and the organization. I'm not going to begin to try to give you an explanation there as far as rounding out that bullpen. There were a lot of discussions about what the Tigers can do as far as formulating the best bullpen possible and what that will look like in the postseason. So obviously that's becomes a part of the conversation. And then as far as the corresponding move, bringing Hannafy, recalling him from AAA, if you want to have a discussion that Herter is a better option than Hannafy, I mean, sure. I don't know if it's that distinct of a difference from what those guys are bringing to the front end of that bullpen. And this explanation here from Anthony Robinson, because he has options and they want to use the new toys. That's probably the best explanation you can get to as far as a player that has the options there to go down to AAA versus some of the other ones that are out of options. All right. Who's up next? This one from Thomas Rotondi, Paddack blows. I'm not going to argue with that. And then Coben asking the same thing. Why is Herter getting sent down? Nice to see Hannafy back, but feel like someone other than Herter should have been sent down. It goes back to what players have the options and what don't. All right, Coven here with the Raptor. I love the old school Raptors logo as your Abby. I mean, that's one of the good. I like cartoon logos with the cartoon dinosaur dribbling the basketball. Scott Harris moved for Chris Paddack. Guy might not even make the playoff roster at this point. Yeah, I don't think he does. I really don't. But hey, that's when you shop at the bargain bin. You can find some steals like Kyle Finnegan is proving to be, and maybe Charlie Morton's been a little bit more of a roller coaster there. But the thing with Paddack is, for whatever reason, when he goes against his old team, the Minnesota Twins, he's just been shelled. And you saw some of the visible frustration there, especially, I mean, let's be honest, any competitor that's giving up 8 earned runs is going to be frustrated because you don't make the major leagues by giving up 8 earned runs routinely. There you go. Write that one down. Jake Rietma just bestowing the knowledge upon all of us. Thank you for that. But you get the point I'm making. I mean, everybody, when you're playing your former team, you want to go out there and you want to make a statement. And unfortunately, that statement has been made in the contrary from the Minnesota Twins the 2 times that he has faced them. This from my main man, Adam. Paddack is not good. I don't think it's also fair that he pitches against Minnesota's former team in 2 starts. Good road trip, but today was a crappy effort. Yeah, yep, that's where I'm at too, Adam. And the Locked On Tigers postcast comments are usually spot on, and so far today they all have been. I think 2 things can be true. You can be happy with a 5-2 road trip, but a little bit ticked off at the effort, the level of effort. You're not going to win every game, but to get blown out by a team that can't hardly even field a big league roster is a little bit disappointing. So, but they still have some guys. Obviously, Buxton, three more hits today, the 1 home run. And giving up 4 RBI to the 8-hitter in Brooks Lee is a tough look. But That's why they drive Mercedes as well. All right. We are cruising right along on a live Locked On Tigers postcast, and I appreciate everybody tuning in. We'll take one more comment here from Bun E. Oh, thank you for that username. The bunny guy, the bunny farts guy. There you go. That's hilarious. Yes. He says, I get, or she maybe, I get you are not going to win every game, but when the manager and team are like, it's getaway day, let's just go through the motions. That's exactly it. Going through the motions. I can't believe I haven't said that yet. That's what it was. It was going through the motions on a Sunday afternoon. They won that game last night. All right, we've won 3 in a row. We've won 5 of 6 on this road trip. We can go through the motions tomorrow. So, all right, we'll take a quick break, have our turning point and talking point. But you know what? We won't go through the motions here on a live Locked On Tigers postcast. We will take every second of airtime to give you everything. All right, I'm going to relax. I'm trying to be funny. There's usually a strike against me because I'm not funny. Back in a moment on a live Locked On Tigers postcast. Hey, this episode of the Locked On Tigers postcast is brought to you by our good friends at Prize Picks, the daily fantasy platform that lets you turn your football predictions into real rewards. Preseason is already heating up, and college football isn't far behind. Whether you've got your eye on big-name quarterbacks or breakout running backs, Prize Picks makes it easy to get in the game. Yeah, you know what? I've got a lot of thoughts on the upcoming football season. I'm most excited for the Detroit Lions, so long as Jared Goff stays healthy. Has anybody seen the backup quarterback situation playing out in the Lions preseason games? Yikes. But I feel good about the Lions three-peating as NFC North champions, and then just got to get into the playoffs, and we'll see what happens from there. The flex play option is a total game changer on Prize Picks. Even when one of your pick misses, you still can double your money. Prize Picks puts your members first, so it's all withdrawals. Yep, they're all fast, safe, and secure. So download the Prize Picks app and use that code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. Prize Picks, run your game. Today's episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champion before week 1 even kicks off, this is your moment. Let's put some money on the Lions winning the Super Bowl. Could you imagine Motown after a Super Bowl? The place might even burn to the ground. I'm getting so excited just thinking about it. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now, because Futures Day is one day and one day only. It's August 26th. FanDuel, play your game. We cruise right along on a live Locked On Tigers postcast, and unfortunately, the Tigers went through the motions today on a Sunday on getaway day, but we will not. Let's get into our biggest turning point.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
All right, my funny turning point is when Chris Paddack stepped to the mound and towed the rubber for the Detroit Tigers. My actual turning point where the Tigers lost this game, obviously the third inning. I mean, 6 runs in the frame, the grand slam, all hell broke loose, and there you have it. Now, how about our player of the game? This will be fun.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
When the number 8 hitter comes through with the grand slam, Brooks Lee, 4 runs batted in for him. Or how about Byron Buxton, 3 more hits for him? I mean, take your pick. I'm going to go with Brooks Lee having the grand slam. But Twins pitching, I mean, you could just chalk it up to the entire. I mean, that's the other part. This is a pitching staff who just threw 250 pitches yesterday in a 9-inning game. Okay, that maybe wasn't actually 250, but it was a whole heck of a lot. And for you to be just completely shut down, Hatch goes the 5 innings to get the win and allowed just the 1 earned run, and then 4 shutout innings and to the tune of 20 straight batters retired. I guess we'll make the Twins pitching staff our player of the game, because I mean, that was an embarrassing effort at the plate from this Tigers team. All right. Adam wants to give some credit to Kerry Carpenter. That's fine. Yeah, I mean, just the one RBI single there, sure. And in fact, when he hit that, I thought, okay, all right, rough start for Paddack, gave up the one run, right back in it, but no, it ain't happening. One of my favorite Nick Saban quotes is the post-game interview, and it's become one of the gifts where he's like, it ain't happening, so quit asking, all right? That's kind of how I felt about the Tigers today and their offense. It ain't happening, so quit asking. A couple more comments, Stuart. Yeah, there was no sense of urgency at all this time. It felt like they DGAF. I love it. Yeah, thank you for that slang. And that is the exact case with this Tigers team today. They did not give a freak from when the lineup was put in. Which I get it, you already took the series, but hell, I don't get it. I think as a professional athlete, the worst thing you can do when you're paid handsomely, and this is not, I hate getting into, I sometimes say when you're paid handsomely, like it's a bad thing. It's not. I mean, that's professional sports, but you owe it. You owe it to the game. You owe it to the fans. You owe it to yourself. And I'm not being motivator guy here by any means, but I just can't imagine packing it in when you're in the show. I mean, this is the highest level of baseball. It's the show. And maybe I don't have a leg to stand on since I've never had to go through the grueling grind of a 162 game season. So I get that. And I'm just Joe Schmoes talking into a microphone, but at the same time, tough to watch. Okay. I don't think we need to keep beating the dead horse. It was a bad day at the ballpark. Bad movie, as my grandparents would say. Bad movie, turn it off. On to the next one. Tigers return home for 6 games. You've got 3 against the Houston Astros, followed by 3 against the Kansas City Royals, I believe. Let me make sure that's correct. It is. Way to go, Jake. Off day sandwiched in there on Thursday, and then it's back on the road to Sacramento with the Athletics, with another off day sandwiched in there on that Thursday before 3 more in Kansas City. So there's your next upcoming schedule: 3 against the Astros, 3 against the Royals, 3 against the Athletics, 3 against the Royals, with the first 2 being home series and the latter portion being road series. That's the rest of the month of August for you before we get into September. So thanks so much for tuning in. Appreciate everybody tuning in this weekend. We have some pretty good numbers. It's always a pleasure to be on the air with everybody. And I appreciate your comments because that helps drive the live show. Make sure you like the Locked On Tigers postcast video, all of them. Just go on a liking spree. We appreciate that. And subscribe if you haven't. Check out Locked On Tigers. Looking forward to Scott Bentley's Monday episode. Until then, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we will talk to you next time on the live Locked On Tigers postcast.